Hello everyone, welcome to Almighty Tricks. Today we'll be understanding about proxy design pattern. So proxy design pattern comes under structural design pattern. So proxy design pattern let client not to communicate with the real object. Basically it creates a wrapper around the real object. Also it controls the access. It will be more clear when we'll see the example in our next slide. So also this proxy design pattern also known as surrogate design pattern. Now let's see some example. So in your city, let's say there is a internet service provider, and that internet service provider basically maintaining some proxy server, and this proxy server is blocking this fb.com and naukri.com. One user is requesting for the fb.com, another user is requesting for the stackoverflow.com, another user is requesting for the naukri.com. Now the user who is trying to access this fb.com, he cannot access this website because this fb.com is not allowed in proxy server. Okay, and the user who is trying to access this stackoverflow.com, so his request will accept by ISP and he can get this stackoverflow.com because it is not blocked by proxy server. Similarly, the user who is trying to access this naukri.com, he cannot access it because this proxy server is not allowing to access this naukri.com. Okay, so here basically ISP is basically it is a real object, and this proxy server is basically it is a proxy, and here these are the users. So if you see, users are not directly communicating with the real object, so they are communicating via this proxy server. Okay, let's understand another example. Say there is a website of XYZ organization, and this website can be accessed by XYZ employee, and there are two users. One user is employee of this XYZ organization, another one is normal user, and they are trying to access this website to download some file, and they need to log in and they can download. So there is a screen for login. They need to provide username and password. So they need to request, and here normal user doesn't have any access to this XYZ website because she is not part of this XYZ organization. So she will not get into this website and she cannot download. But for XYZ employee, so he has access to this website because he is the part of this XYZ organization and he has the valid username and password. So his request will be accepted by this XYZ organization website, and he will get the response with this file. Here basically this login username and password, this screen is basically it is treating as a proxy, and this website of this XYZ organization is treating as a real object, and these are the users. So basically here also users are not directly communicating with the real object. They need to communicate via proxy server. Okay, so this is the basic example. So we are going to see this example in practical. Now let's understand the structure of this proxy design pattern. So we will be having this real object, and we will be having this subject which is interface or abstract type, and we will be having this proxy. Okay, so real object will implement this interface, proxy will also implement this interface, and there this proxy basically it will hide this real object, and we will be having one client who is communicating with this interface. Okay, and here basically subject it will be having all the methods with functionalities, and this those methods can be implemented in real object and proxy server, and this real object will be hidden by this proxy, and this proxy basically it hide the real object, and basically it will provide the interface to the user to communicate. Now let me code this example, and I will be explaining this proxy design pattern. So I have created this proxy package, and inside this proxy package I have created multiple files. One file is this interface. So in this interface I have created one method called download file method, and I have created one user class which is a model type, and here I am having two fields, that is username and password, and I have argument type constructor, and I have setter getter methods. Now I have two concrete classes, that is website proxy and website real object. So this website real object is implementing this iWebsite subject which is the interface, and as we are implementing this iWebsite object, as we are implementing this iWebsite subject, we need to override this download file, and I am printing something like PDF file is downloading. In the website proxy also I am implementing this iWebsite interface, and I have also created this instance, and I am using this user instance as well. So I have created one argument constructor with the argument which is accepting this user, and I am initializing here. Okay, now I need to override this download file method because I am implementing this interface, so I need to override this. Now let's say as we are not directly communicating with any database, so I have hard-coded this username and password. So the username is employee01 and password is root. So whenever this username and passwords are correct, that time what I'm doing, I'm creating this website real object. So by which we no need to have we no need to create this object previously. Whenever we get request, if that request is valid, then only we'll create this object. Then after getting this object, I am calling this download file method. Then if this username and password is incorrect, I am printing this statement like unauthorized, so you don't have any access to the system. Okay, now I have created one client class. So in this client class, basically first of all I am passing the correct data. Like correct data means if XYZ employee is trying to download that file, then I am creating this user and I am passing this employee 01 and root, okay, which is correct. And then this employee, I am passing this website proxy. Okay, so it will assign to this user and it will check username and passwords are correct or not. As I am passing correct one, so it will create this object, okay, and it will download. So let's run this code. Okay, now I am getting this correct one, means PDF file is downloading. It means we are passing correct username and password, then it is accepting this request to serve the download file request. Okay, now let's pass the incorrect username and password who is not employee of this XYZ organization. So here basically what I am doing, I am passing some invalid username and password. So it will go to this website proxy and it will assign to this user, and it will check whether this username and password emp01 and password should be root or not. If it is not correct, then it will print this one. Okay, let me run this. So if you see, this non-XYZ employee is trying to download proxy, so it is printing unauthorized, you don't have access to the system. So basically we are not directly communicating with the real object, so we are communicating via this website proxy. And also we need to appreciate, we are not creating this object. So whenever this request is valid, I mean the username and passwords are valid, then only we are creating this object by which the resource and the memory will be optimized. So this is the use case of the proxy design pattern. Let's see the diagram. So if you see the diagram, so we are having this interface and we have this real object, we have this proxy. Basically both of them are implementing this iWebsite subject, and we have this user. As we are not using any database, we are mocking this data, so we can ignore this one for now. And we have this client. Basically it will communicate with the proxy, then from this proxy it will communicate with the website real object. Hope you understood this concept. Thank you for watching this video.